Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're having an amazing day today. It is Coach John back with another video, bringing you one that I think is going to open a lot of people's eyes to something that you don't realize you can take control of, and you can improve your discipline. So that's what we're going to talk about today, how to improve your discipline. We're going to get the overall picture, understanding of it, and we're going to dive right into that. Real quick before we do though, if you're interested in getting coaching to help you take your fitness, your life to the next level, then make sure you follow the instructions down in the comment section or in the description below. Reach out to us on Instagram and we will jump on the phone, see if you're a good fit to level up your life with us, and we'd be looking forward to working with you. Now let's go ahead and dive into how to be more disciplined. So the first thing we're going to talk about here on this side of the whiteboard is we're going to break down exactly what it is and understand it a little bit better, because a lot of people have the wrong notion about discipline. And just a heads up, a lot of you out there, this may be, common knowledge for you, okay? Some of you out there that are super disciplined, or, read a ton of books, or, are on this personal development journey for quite a while now, you're gonna probably understand quite a bit of what I say, but I guarantee you there's gonna be some big gems in there for anybody who's looking to start your personal development journey, if you wanna call it that, or just, get on the path to improving yourself, becoming a better version of yourself. This video will change your life. And then I'm gonna flip the board around, and we're going to talk about some seriously powerful concepts behind how to actually build discipline, as well as some takeaways and actionable steps that you can implement right away to start building yours. Okay, so the first thing we want to understand is, what is discipline? Okay, so for example, a lot of people, like I mentioned in the beginning, have the wrong notion. You'll hear a lot of people say, oh, I wish I could be that disciplined. Oh, I'm not as disciplined as this person. Or I could never be that disciplined, or I've never been that disciplined. These types of phrases that are very, very detrimental to their own mind, because of course, hopefully you know by now how powerful the mind is. It is the most powerful thing, and it essentially runs your life, okay? And if you're not careful, it's gonna run you. You need to train your mind to run your life the way you want it to run. So with that said, you need to understand, is discipline born or built? It is 100% built. Of course, there's gonna be some differences between individuals, and that's gonna have to do with a lot of factors that we can't quantify, right? Different things that happen as they grew up, as they grew older, are going to lead to either a inherent or seemingly inherent lack of discipline versus a seemingly, gravitation towards discipline, okay? And certain events can trigger or change that along the way as well. But ultimately, discipline is a choice. It is built. And when we flip the board around, you're going to see exactly how to build it in a way that you've probably never even realized. So make sure that your identity is not attached to something negative, something that brings you down. Oftentimes, people that are not doing great, that aren't disciplined, they have the identity in their head that they're not disciplined. I always fall off. Oh, this always happens to me. Oh, I can never get past X point. That's an identity. You need to stop thinking that way. Tell yourself, feed your mind positive things. This video is going to help you understand that while you actually have full control over what goes on in your life and the decisions you make. So take away or break down this negative identity you may have about yourself, thinking, oh, that's just not for me. Oh, I could never do that. You can if you put your mind to it, okay? And if you take the steps that we talk about in this video. So what does it actually take to build the discipline? Well, all these factors here, they're all going to intertwine with discipline. So you need to be disciplined in order to have these, and vice versa. So awareness is number one. Again, coming back to identity, understanding and being aware of the fact that you have a negative connotation when it comes to your own discipline, okay? Or you have a negative attitude when it comes to having to exercise discipline in certain things. So awareness is important, right? You need to first understand and realize, hey, I could be more disciplined than I am. Hey, I should be more disciplined than I am in XYZ. Hey, I'm not seeing this result. I am not disciplined enough. That's almost always what it's going to come down to. But how are you going to become more disciplined if you don't have the awareness that you're not disciplined enough? You see a lot of people get frustrated because they're stuck on their fitness journeys, and they'll say, I just I can't reach this goal, and I don't know why. Well, one of the biggest reasons is a truth that you need to look yourself in the mirror and say to yourself and be aware of: you are not disciplined enough. That's ultimately going to be 95% of the battle right there. So you need awareness, you need commitment. Of course, they go hand in hand. Why would you be disciplined in doing something you're not committed to, unless, of course, an exterior force is, pushing it on you? For example, school. If you don't really have a choice in school and you still don't really want to be committed, like I wasn't very committed back when I was in high school, for example, you still sometimes will do certain things, but still you're not going to be as disciplined as you need to be, unless, like, the people that do good in school, they are committed to doing well, maybe because their parents have reinforced in their brain, maybe because they want to be a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, whatever it is, right? Commitment must be here, okay? It must either precede, follow, both, okay? Dedication, okay, goes hand in hand. Obviously, commitment, dedication, you need to be willing to, you need to imagine, visualize, and understand the consequences that you will have to sacrifice some things. In fact, I would put sacrifice here as well, or even replace dedication with sacrifice, as they typically go hand in hand, okay? So understand, this is what it takes. So if you're not committed to something, typically there's not much discipline there. And if you're not self-aware, it's going to be tough to know or even see where you could be more disciplined, or if you are enough discipline, if you have enough discipline, and so forth. And you need dedication to understand, hey, I'm going to be disciplined, and I understand the sacrifice that it's going to require in certain areas of my life, okay? But it's worth it because I want to achieve this one thing or these certain things in my life. So let's go ahead and understand discipline a little bit better, and basically the benefits of it and how it helps us in life, and just understanding what this word really means. And one of the things I want to direct you to is what's called the compound effect. Okay, you have likely heard of this, okay? And I'm not just talking about the compound effect that you get from investing in a stock, for example, right? Stocks that are increasing by certain percentages year over year, or quarter over quarter, or decade over, and so forth. That's the same concept. But you must understand that the compound effect actually applies to every single day of your life. In fact, every decision of your life is adding to a compound effect, which I'm going to explain on the backside here, and actually visually show you how this works, and how and why people are in the places that they are in, you included. So I want you to understand the compound effect is always working. I think it was Albert Einstein, somebody famous at one point, said it is the eighth wonder of the world, because it's something that's just always happening, and it's everywhere, always, at all times. You can't avoid it, which is a good thing or a bad thing depending on if you have discipline. So the compound effect and discipline go hand in hand. A lack of discipline means the compound effect works against you. Exercising discipline on a regular basis means the compound effect is likely working in your favor. Okay, the next one is consistency, which means daily. Okay, people have the wrong understanding of what consistency means. Consistency is not Monday to Friday, then you take Friday to Monday off. No, it's every single day. I'll give you an example of my own. So my business, I got stuck at around the $10,000 per month mark at one point. And so I was stuck there for a few months, and I was wondering why. And then I realized that certain things that I was doing for my lead generation, okay, in other words, getting more people, more awareness to, and more prospects to the business, I was not doing it consistent enough. I wasn't doing it 7 days a week. I would do it some weeks 5 days, some weeks 6, some weeks 4, on a bad week maybe 3. And the business as a result was going up and down, okay, which we're going to discuss here why that is. But that wasn't consistent. And so what I did was I realized, okay, I need to make, and it was a very simple habit, took about an hour and a half a day, one simple habit. And I said, okay, this needs to be done daily, non-negotiable. We'll talk about more about how you can figure that out in a sec, but I determined this one's gonna move the needle forward. It must be done daily, no matter what happens, no matter whose birthday it is, what event it is, if I'm on vacation, doesn't matter, this must be done every single day for an hour and a half. And when I did that, the business grew and over doubled in a matter of 1 to 2 months, okay? So consistency, understand, is daily. Nothing else is consistent. If you're working out or if you're exercising, daily. I'm not saying you gotta crank the weights every day, but you need to do something active every day, something for your fitness every day. Once again, I need to reiterate this. Every day. That means not one day off in your entire life, if you can manage that. Of course, things might come up where it's literally an impossibility in that day. Make sure that happens about this many days max in an entire year. It sounds extreme. If you're looking to improve yourself, if you're looking to be the best version of yourself, you got to do things that seem extreme to the average person. Though you'll understand very soon why this is not extreme. It's just a law. Next, delayed gratification. I recently made a video on dopamine detoxing where I broke it down, 30-minute video, A to Z, how to, why to dopamine detox, and I break down the whole delayed gratification concept there. Make sure you check that video out. I'll put the link up here. I got a lot of good feedback on that one, and I think it'll help you out a lot. In fact, I recommend you watch that after this one. So you need to understand that discipline and delayed gratification, they're synonymous. So what I want to show you real quick before we flip it around here is this mini diagram, okay? Now, what I want you to visualize is this line up top, the black dotted line, is your highest standard. I'll give you an example soon. This bottom black dotted line is your lowest standard. And this red line is your result. Okay, so let's go ahead and give an example. Back when, let's say a year ago, my lowest standard of the amount of money I was okay with making, or I was used to making, we should say, was about $6,000. Okay, $6,000 a month. So what happened? No matter what happened that month, even if I took some time off work, or I went here, or I did this, or whatever it was, I had less hours here, and whatever happened, I always seemed to make that 6,000, you know, 6,200, 6,100, 6,400, 6,000. That was the lowest thing I would accept. You see, the second it started to go, if I saw it go below 6,000, I would suddenly like wake up out of this trance and be like, whoa, 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 what's going on? Okay, and I would all of a sudden put in this massive action towards making sure that I at least hit that 6,000. Now, my highest standard at the time was I wanted 6 figures, so it was, because I thought 6 figures, meaning just even 100,000, was a lot of money. So I wanted $8,000 a month, okay, which is around 6 figures. It's technically 8,300, okay, so I was around there. So what would happen is I'd be at 6,000 a month, and I would say, okay, my highest standard here is 8,000 a month, and my lowest standard was 6,000. Okay, this is an example, and this actually happened to me, by the way. Of course, these numbers have changed, but this is likely happening in your life more than just a financial scale. Okay, different scales. But let's go. I don't know why I went on that side. Let's go back here. So what happened was I start working. I'm at 6,000, and I say I want that 8,000. Because that's my goal right now. Okay, that's my goal. So I'm working hard, I'm putting in the right steps, and when I get up to that 8,000, what happens? I would say, I made 8,000 this month, or I made 8,400 this month. I'm killing it, I'm doing great. Here's what happens. All of a sudden, you come back down 7,000, and next month 6,000, 5,000. Oh my God, I gotta get back up. I'm under the 6,000. You get back up and you say work, 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 and it goes back up to 8,000. Oh, I'm killing it. I'm doing great. I gotta just stay here, right? You drop back down. So why am I telling you this? This is the reason why people find themselves in these vicious cycles. A lot of times people will drop 15 pounds, they'll gain it back. Drop 15 pounds, gain it back. This is why their highest standard was them 15 pounds lighter. Their lowest standard was, hey, if they are 200 pounds or less, they're good. So what happens magically? They're at almost 200 pounds. They're like 198 all the time, right? This is why. And what happens is when you get up to this point, these points where you're at your highest standard, you are almost proud. You let pride come in and you say, hey, I'm doing great. This is where I want to be. And especially if this is set low, in this case it was set low, okay? What happens is when you get to this point, you stop doing the things, you stop exercising the discipline, you stop contributing to the compound effect, you stop being consistent, you start giving into more instant gratification. And so because you stop doing the things that got you here in the first place, because you're like, hey, I'm here now, I can chill for a bit, boom, you're gonna see the fruits of that labor going downwards. And next thing you know, you're back to where you started. And what happens is you will not accept, this kind of comes back to identity, by the way, you will not accept less than 6,000 a month in this particular case. So you're gonna work as hard as you can, or as hard as you need to bring that back up. Okay, I hope this makes sense, and I hope this is giving you some insight as to why you're always up and down and up and down. Okay, now I'm gonna come out with other videos talking about the mindset behind, okay, we're gonna dive deeper into the mindset behind how to fix this and why this actually happens and how to break through this highest standard, especially because a lot of people's highest standards are set very low. And what you need to understand here is you are not a reflection of your highest standard. You are a reflection of your lowest standard. So whatever somebody's walking around at weight-wise right now, that's the lowest standard that they accept in their life. Whatever they're doing, however much money they're making, that's the lowest standard they'll accept, meaning they will not accept any lower than what they're making right now. But what they're making right now is the lowest standard they'll accept, and they'll stay there as a result. They'll always come back down to that. And again, this is a whole different topic to kind of break open why or how to fix this or why this happens. But some of the things I'm going to show you here are going to help you break that without having to change the mindset first. But you need this. You need the awareness first, okay? So I hope that this makes sense here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to flip this around. And we're going to talk and really dissect how to increase the discipline, okay? So I'm going to put this in here. So we're going to break it all down. Now there's a few different things that we're covering here. As you see, this board's pretty full. We're going to talk about feedback loops. We're going to talk about the law of motion. We're going to talk about this chart right here. We're going to talk about the action items at the end and some extra stuff here. So first and foremost, what is a feedback loop? A feedback loop is basically the machinery behind building discipline, okay? Because like we mentioned before, discipline is built. It is literally a muscle. You see, people that are so disciplined, how do they make it look so easy to stay disciplined? It's because they're disciplined. How does a person who has all this muscle make it so easy to lift this weight? Because they have a lot of muscle, because they're strong, because they built that strength. Same thing here. And so when I build a certain amount of strength, as you see my gains they're coming back, okay? When you build a certain amount of strength, it becomes easy to lift more weight. In fact, you need to lift more weight to maintain that muscle. So a disciplined person that's super disciplined, they need to exercise massive amounts of discipline in that day to keep that disciplined muscle strong, or else they're gonna start moving in the wrong direction. So here is how the discipline muscle is built, for better or for worse. What happens is you got your input, you've got your output. What that means is this is your action, this is your result. For example, I work out or I lift weights, and output is you tear the muscle down. Okay? The feedback is, so you've got two, let me break it like this. Input, output, action, result, and then from that result, you're going to get what's called a feedback loop, where it comes back, feedback comes back around, and it fortifies the action you just took, okay? So the most clear example of this would be, how do professional athletes, like let's say soccer players, how can a soccer player perfectly put the ball in that top corner or wherever they want to put it? It's because the input was they kick the ball a certain way. And when they kick the ball a certain way, they get an outcome. That outcome comes with both feedback in two ways. Feedback in, okay, I need to change a little bit because it didn't go exactly where I wanted. Change it, and it's reinforcing. So the second I got it now after 10 tries, right? So you keep practicing. What happens is over time, repetition of this causes the feedback to strengthen, comes around, strengthens it, comes back around, strengthens it again, so the line gets thicker, back around. Obviously, this is an illustration to kind of show you how it works. Same with muscle. You input workout and proper nutrition, proper sleep, all these habits, right? This could be multiple actions that compound together to equal this output of building muscle. You build muscle, what happens? You get stronger because of that muscle. So when you come back, you do the action, you're lifting more weight, you're eating more food, more protein, you're resting more, you're resting better, and you get stronger, build more muscle, which causes you to get stronger, to lift more weight, to lift, and so on, and so on, and so on. So this feedback loop, the key is that there's a positive, at least the way I've outlined it here. You can have positive feedback, so gaining the muscle is good feedback. Or the negative feedback is input. Instead of going to the gym today, you make the decision not to go because you don't feel like it. You're tired from work, so you don't go. Instead, you sit on the couch and you watch a movie. What's your output? Do your muscles get better or weaker? They get weaker. And what else happens? Because your muscles are weaker, next time you come in here, the workout's gonna be a little bit harder than it was last time. And because the workout's harder, slowly, maybe you do less volume, and so the muscle doesn't build as much. Or this output, this feedback is going to come back around and fortify the decision you made in your brain, because your brain's decisions are connected to basically a neural network, if you will, right? A wire in your brain that chooses this path. So over here, I've got the path of sitting on the couch and eating, eating chips. This, I've got the path of going to the gym and working out. So I go to the gym, I work out, this feedback loop is building, this is getting stronger, this is getting weaker. All of a sudden, I start skipping the gym. It feels better. I want to skip more. I do keep skipping. I lose my muscle. I get fatter. I get weaker. And so on and so on. This gets strong. This gets neglected and weak. I hope that made sense. This is one of the most powerful things you need to understand. Every decision you make, every decision that you make is going to make it easier to make that same decision next time. That's why it becomes so easy for people to skip the gym, because they skipped it the first time. And when they skip it the first time, that next day, it's going to be easier to skip it again. And if you're not careful and you skip it again, now it's even easier to skip it again. And the next day, even easier. Next thing you know, years go by and you've skipped the gym. And you look in the mirror and you will experience what we're going to talk about here, the effects of this feedback loop taking over and leading you towards the path, good or bad. Remember, the opposite is also true. Your simple awareness of this fact right here can propel you in the right direction, especially with the action items we're going to talk about. You make the decision to go to the gym even when you're tired. You get the output. What's the output? You're going to feel great. Next time you're tired and you don't want to go, your brain's going to remind you, it felt really good last time though. Did you regret it last time? No. Did you feel better? Yes. Are you looking better? Yes. Let's do it again. And let's do it again. Now for me, it's impossible to skip the gym. It is simply an impossibility because I've gone through this feedback loop so many times. It doesn't matter how tired I am. My foot's been all messed up lately. Okay, I really messed my foot up badly. So what I say, okay, my foot's messed up. I can barely walk. However, when it's in one place and I put pressure on it, there's no pain. Perfect, I can squat. So I limp my ass over to the gym and I blast legs. I just can't skip it, no matter what. Any excuse that pops in my head. Anybody else, oh, my foot's messed up. I'm not even gonna do upper body day. For me, it's like, my foot's messed up. Oh, hold on. We're working around this. I got no choice. This is the power. This is the power of feedback loops. Next, let's talk about this chart right here. This is the compound effect. So, with this feedback loop, okay, this essentially leads to this chart. Over time, I just gave you an example. Over time, you are either having the compound effect work for you or against you. This is time, the black line right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, I just labeled it random. You can, I would probably say years here. So this should be 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 4 years. And what happens is with the compound effect, you don't notice so many results up front as you're putting work into this feedback loop, as you're going to the gym when you don't feel like it. There's not so much return up front, but what happens 4 years later, so there's not too much, all of a sudden a compounded interest, if you will, builds upon all of the effort you put in here, because everything you do doesn't go unnoticed. Everything you do goes noticed, okay? Nature, the laws of the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, okay, the infinite source, the infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it, is always watching. It sees every move and it's taking note of every move that you do in your life. And it's adding it to the tally sheet. Okay, was that a good move? No? Okay, that move's going to lead down here. So that's you tally up 1,000,000 of these and only 100 of those, where do you think you're going to end up? So I hope I'm not making this too confusing. So here's the thing, the compound effect works this way. It's a hockey stick curve. Exponential results end up coming at some point or another, years down the line. This is how somebody wakes up one day, they go, how did I get this fat? Here's why. Because you're either gonna end up one in two ways. The positive, you're gonna end up confident in your ability. Why? Because you're healthy, you're wealthy. more money. You're more fulfilled as a result of all these things. Better family life. But insert whatever good you want in life up here. How do you achieve it? Well, first of all, it's not going to be up here. It's never going to be here. It's not going to be here. Here you're going to start to really notice benefits. But ask yourself, how many people stick to something for 2 years? Let alone, how many people stick to something for 2 weeks? Very few. You stick to something for 2 years, you start to separate yourself from the pack. You stick for 4 years. I've stuck to something for 12 years. Okay, my fitness journey I've stuck to for 12 years. No wonder I'm up here. No wonder it's so easy to, after quarantine, get my gains back. No wonder I'm confident. No wonder, I've been working on my wealth and my business for the last 3 years now. So now I'm starting to see this. Imagine 10 years. By the way, this just keeps going. That just keeps going up, and this keeps going down. What's this? Depression, obesity, miserable, poverty, everything but anxiety, mental health issues, okay? As low as you can go, if you keep going down there, that's what's gonna happen. People that are depressed, it's not like you just flip a switch and you're depressed. Sure, if something happens in your life and that can happen. However, whichever way the compound effect has worked for you up until that point, is the way you're going to stay on that path, which brings me to this, the law of motion, or also known as the law of inertia. Objects in motion stay in motion unless otherwise acted upon by an outside force. So this will continue up this way. Let's say, God forbid, something happens in the family, right here. What happens is, this is a fork in the road, where you might all of a sudden start coming a little bit down like this, because now you're going into some negative things that happen. You're not feeling so happy, you're not feeling so motivated, it's hard to be disciplined because of what happened in your family or whatever. This starts to happen. But if you're all the way up here already, after years of doing this, just like the quarantine, for me an example, the quarantine, 3 months of not lifting, 3 months of not lifting. 12 years, I'm already up here. So you take 3 months of lifting away, look, I come down like that. Compound effect is working in my favor so powerfully that you could take my gym away for a year and I'd still be on the up and up. Just easily. The compound effect has worked in my favor. I can just go for 5Ks. I just want to go for walks. I just want to work out. I just want to blast weights no matter what. I just want to. I need it to breathe. Okay? Essentially. And the opposite is true as well. So, sure, if you're moving in this direction, here's the good news. An object in motion, if you're doing this, it's gonna keep being easier to do the wrong choice, to do the wrong thing, to not be disciplined, unless outside force acts on it. People are fat, they get a heart attack. Whoa, outside force just acted on it, guess what? Now, they're here. They're going on this feedback loop. They're like, okay, time to fix this. And in 5 years, they're in the best shape of their lives. Why? I had a heart attack, and I had to make a change. Outside force. This outside force doesn't have to be extreme. Unfortunately, for most it is, but for you, it can be this video. It can be one decision. And that's what I want to talk to you here. Okay, to close out the video, action items. How do we get this? Or how do we ensure that this continues for us? A couple things. First thing you need to do, and they're very basic stuff, right? It's very simple. The greatest truths of life are oftentimes simple. People want complex. People, especially in the marketing, digital age of these, people want complex. No need to overcomplicate things. Clear goal. The first thing you need is a clear goal. I want to get healthy. That's not a clear goal. What does that mean? I want to get toned. That's not a clear goal. I want to get rich. That's not a clear goal. I want to be disciplined. That's not a clear goal. Determine the exact amount of what you want, the exact date of what you want, and make it realistic, of course. Have a SMART goal. If there's one thing school taught me that I apply every day, it's SMART goals, and I thank school for that. Though I would have learned it anyway, but you get the point. SMART goal, clear goal. This thing must be perfectly mapped out to where you can visualize it in your head and do so daily. Have that clear goal. The next thing, number 2, outline 3 clear steps. So my business, my goal was $20,000 per month. Clear goal, $20,000 per month, and I wanted to do that before June, okay? It's June at the time of me recording this video. I did hit this goal before that, okay? But the point is, this was the visual, it's clear what I'm trying to do here, okay? What were my 3 clear steps? Remember I told you earlier, I have the lead gen. So you want 3 clear steps that are gonna move the needle. So you wanna get in better shape. One clear step isn't, read more books. That doesn't necessarily move the needle in terms of your fitness. It might be work out daily, doesn't have to be weights, but exercise daily. Track food daily, and something else, sleep 7 to 9 hours daily. Those 3 things. You do those 3, what do you think is going to happen? You have to make them non-negotiable. That's step 3. Daily, non-negotiable. 1.5 hours of exercise. I'm doing my exercise every day. 30 minutes of exercise. If you have to just go for a walk, I'm going out to tomorrow's Canada Day. I'm going to the beach with my friends all day. But guess what? My non-negotiables stay the same. I'm still gonna get my exercise in the morning. I'm gonna wake up extra early. But when it comes to this goal, let's say specifically this goal here, I'm still getting up early to do my lead gen. I'm still gonna do my client work. Okay? And I'm still gonna post my content. Those 3 things. I've got other things because you can add more as well, but 3 main things that no matter what happens, if those are the only 3 things you could do, make those the ones that move the needle the most, make them non-negotiable. Everybody around you should know, I need to do these. Doesn't matter what they think, doesn't matter what, make time for yourself. Wake up early if you need to. You don't need to get in the way of anybody else, but let them know, hey, move it around, move your schedule around these things, because ultimately this is what's gonna lead to your success. This will never happen overnight. It'll only happen over an accumulation of years of doing the same things consistently. And remember the chart we had back here where we talked about why people can't break this? And it's because you stop doing the things that were working, and so you're building this feedback loop, but then you stop, and you stop probably over here. So you could just as easily switch over to this spot, and next thing you know, you're going there. I was doing so good, and then you go over there. That's what happens with most people, okay? So I hope that this makes sense. This is how you build discipline. Get clear on the goal that you want. 3 actionable steps, and the discipline comes from this. You must make it a non-negotiable. You need awareness to understand, to be aware of these things, to be aware of everything I just mentioned. You need to understand that you're committed to this goal. Make sure that that goal is clear. Look, I was committed to 20,000 a month. Committed. And now I'm committed to 50,000 a month. Okay? And then I'm committed to, I surpassed this goal already. Then I committed to 100,000 a month. So on and so on. But you need to keep doing the things that got you there in the first place. Keep doing it, because you may only be here. You see some results, you're here. Don't stop, because eventually the results are going to be insane. Last but not least, guys, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, coaching inquires. If you want somebody, if you want a shortcut to something, the closest thing you can get to a shortcut is hiring a mentor, hiring a coach. Okay, my company, Beyond the Iron, we help you with that. In fitness, no way. Has this been... We help you with that. In fitness, coaching, all that stuff, we help you level up. Be the person you want to be. Be the version of yourself that you want to be. So if you're interested in doing that, follow the instructions in the comment section or in the description below. Reach out to us on Instagram, and we will help you level up in the next 12 weeks and help you get on the right path and sustain it forever. And lastly, a couple book recommendations to help you with this topic. I have only 3 of so many that I could recommend, but The Compound Effect, to go even more in depth into this chart. The Power of Habit, this is a classic right here. So understanding the habits you have from the feedback loops and how to actually twist them and change them to the habits you need and want. And this one's called Extreme Ownership. It's mostly a leadership book. However, it's written by 2 guys, Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, that embody, in my opinion, discipline. And Jocko, I believe, was one of the guys who kind of came up with discipline equals freedom. And I highly recommend you watch his podcast and read all of his books. He's got multiple. And so those are some recommendations amongst others that I have. The Slight Edge is another good one. Motivation Myth, Grit. These are different good ones. But that's it for this video, guys. I apologize if the audio was off, because I realized just now that my microphone was kind of completely not set up right. But with that said, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Any questions, any comments, drop them down below. Share it with your friends and family who want to improve and become better versions of themselves, okay? If I help just one of you out here, I'm working towards my path and my purpose. And regardless, I'm working towards it every damn day, and I hope you are as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm out.